The world you inhabit is rarely ever truly still, even now. As you settle into this moment of rest, the air around you is thick with the ghosts of motion. Perhaps there is the distant, rhythmic hum of a passing car on a street several blocks away. Maybe there is the soft, mechanical whir of a fan, or the subtle ticking of a clock that usually goes unnoticed during the busy hours of the day. These are the echoes of life. They are the constant, vibrating threads that connect you to the restless energy of the planet. For a moment, let us simply acknowledge them. Let us notice how the atmosphere is a sea of tiny tremors, carrying the weight of 1,000 different stories. Your mind is a master of filtering this noise, tucking it away into the background so that you can focus on the tasks of being human. But today, we are going to do something different. We are going to begin the process of peeling these layers away. We are going to move toward a place where the vibrations stop. Imagine, if you can, a dial in your mind. This dial controls the volume of the outside world. Slowly, you begin to turn it. The first layer to fade is the furthest one. The sound of the city, that low-frequency rumble of millions of people moving and working, begins to dissolve. It becomes thinner and lighter, like a mist being burned away by a morning sun. The distant sirens and the clatter of trains become nothing more than a memory. Now, turn the dial further. The sounds of your immediate surroundings begin to soften. The hum of the refrigerator, the creak of the floorboards, and the rustle of the wind against the window all lose their edge. They become soft and rounded, blending into a single velvet texture. Soon, even that texture begins to fray at the edges. The world is becoming a smoother place. It is as if you are stepping out of a crowded room and into a garden where the air is perfectly still. But we are going to go even deeper than that. We are going to peel away the sound of the air itself. On Earth, silence is an illusion. Even in the deepest cave or the most remote desert, the air is moving. It brushes against the stones. It carries the microscopic songs of insects and the distant pressure of the weather. True silence is a rare and precious resource on our blue marble. Most of us have never actually experienced it. Our ears are always reaching out, searching for a pattern or a signal in the static. This is because your brain is a sentinel. It is designed to listen for change, to guard you against the unexpected. But here, in this space we are creating, there is nothing you need to guard against. You are completely safe. The sentinel can finally lay down its heavy shield. You can give your mind permission to stop searching for patterns. As the external world grows faint, your focus naturally shifts inward. You might start to notice the sounds of your own existence. There is the soft, brushing sound of your breath as it moves in and out of your body. It is a slow and steady wave, a personal tide that belongs only to you. Then, there is the pulse. It is a dull, comforting thud that echoes in your ears. This is the sound of your own life force, the internal rhythm that has been with you since before you were born. For a long time, this has been the most quiet place you knew. But now, we are going to step beyond even this. We are going to move toward the great, waiting calm that exists far beyond the reach of the wind and the blood. In our daily lives, we often think of silence as a void, a hollow space that needs to be filled. We feel an urge to speak, to play music, or to check our phones because the lack of input feels like a lack of substance. We have been taught that nothing is something to be avoided, but in the grand design of the cosmos, nothingness is the fundamental state. It is not an empty bowl, it is a vast, supportive ocean. Imagine that the noise of your life is like a heavy suit of armor you have been wearing for years. It is made of metal and gears, clicking and clattering with every step you take. As we leave the echoes of the earth behind, you are unfastening the straps of that armor, one by one. The heavy plates fall away. You feel lighter. The pressure on your shoulders begins to lift. The friction of the world is vanishing. You are no longer a person defined by what you hear or how you react. You are becoming a part of the stillness. This is the ultimate relief. It is the realization that you do not have to contribute anything to the universe for it to hold you. You do not have to make a sound to be real. The universe is a place of incredible scale, and most of that scale is composed of perfect, undisturbed peace. When we look up at the night sky, we see the stars, but we often ignore the immense, velvet gaps between them. Those gaps are the true character of the cosmos. They are the quietest places imaginable. In those reaches, there is no air to carry a scream or a whisper. There is no ground to shake. There is only the infinite, soft dark. As we begin our journey into the void, I want you to imagine that you are shedding your physical weight. You are becoming as light as a single photon, drifting away from the vibrant, noisy ball of life that is our home. The earth is a beautiful, singing world, but it is also a loud one. It is a place of constant collision and conversation. By moving away from it, you aren't losing anything. You are gaining the freedom of the quiet. You are entering a realm where the very concept of noise has no meaning. It is a place where your thoughts can finally stretch out and touch the edges of the infinite without being interrupted. Think about the way a heavy snowfall muffles the world. When you step outside after a storm, the air feels different. The sharp edges of the landscape are rounded over by white powder. The sounds of footsteps are swallowed up instantly. This is a small, earthly hint of what we are approaching. But instead of snow, imagine a blanket of absolute stillness that extends for billions of miles in every direction. This stillness is not cold or unkind. It is a profound, welcoming equilibrium. It is the resting state of all things. We often worry about the void because we associate it with being lost. But how can you be lost when you are everywhere at once? In the quietest place in the universe, there are no directions. There is no up or down, no fast or slow. There is only the now. This is the intellectual ASMR we are seeking, the realization that the most vast thing in existence is also the most peaceful. Your mind, which has been buzzing with the static of 1,000 small concerns, can begin to mirror this cosmic silence. As we move further from the atmosphere, the sky transitions from a bright, energetic blue to a deep, royal indigo, and finally, to the purest black. This blackness is not the absence of color, it is the presence of total rest. It is a visual representation of the silence we are entering. You are now so far away that the internal sounds of your body begin to fade as well. The thumping of your heart becomes a distant, soft memory. The sound of your breath becomes as faint as a sigh from a galaxy away. You are floating in the transition zone. Behind you lies the world of echoes, of vibrant colors, and of never-ending sound. Ahead of you lies the great, majestic void. It is a place that has never known a single vibration. It is the source of all awe. It is a sanctuary where the you that has to do things and solve problems can finally dissolve. You are no longer a listener. You are becoming the silence itself. As we cross this final threshold, the last traces of the world's frantic energy slip away. You are stepping into a cathedral of stars, but the doors have been closed to the noise of time. Everything here is patient. Everything here is waiting. There is a deep, hidden logic to this stillness, a sense that this is where all things eventually return to find their balance. It is a place of ultimate clarity. Without the constant interference of sound, you can begin to sense the true texture of space. It isn't empty. It is a fabric, a soft and invisible weave that holds the galaxies in place. And as you drift deeper into this fabric, you might wonder, if there is no air to carry a sound and no ears to hear a word, What happens to the stories we tell ourselves? What happens to the worries that seemed so loud just a few moments ago? They simply lose their medium. They cannot travel here. They fall away like autumn leaves into a still pond, leaving the surface perfectly smooth. In this profound quiet, a new kind of understanding begins to bloom, a sense of wonder that doesn't need words to exist. We are moving toward the heart of the void now, where the silence is so deep it feels like a physical embrace. Can you feel the edge of that perfect, dark peace beginning to touch your mind? Consider the invisible weight you have carried since the moment you were born. On the surface of our world, we live at the bottom of a deep, transparent ocean of air. We rarely think of the atmosphere as a physical burden, yet it is a heavy, swirling blanket that presses against us from every side. It is this very thickness that allows sound to exist, acting as a medium for every vibration, every shout, and every frantic hum of modern life. To find the quietest place, we must first begin to shed this weight. Imagine yourself standing on the solid earth, feeling the gravity that anchors you. Now slowly, let that anchor go. Imagine a gentle, effortless ascent, as if you are rising like a wisp of smoke into the evening sky. As you move upward, the dense, heavy air of the lowlands begins to thin. The pressure against your skin starts to soften. It is not a feeling of losing something vital, but rather a feeling of liberation. It is the removal of a heavy winter coat that you didn't realize you were wearing. With every foot of elevation, the world below becomes more muffled, and the air around you becomes more serene. The clouds are the first milestone in this vertical journey. You rise through them, feeling the cool, damp mist brush against your face like a soft silk veil. Inside the cloud, the world is a diffuse, glowing white, and the sounds of the earth are further dampened. But you do not stop there. You continue to rise, breaking through the silver tops of the clouds into a realm of eternal twilight. Here, the atmosphere begins to change its character. It is no longer a chaotic swirl of weather and wind. It becomes a thin, fragile layer of violet and deep blue. As you climb higher, the sky above you begins to darken, turning from the familiar azure of a summer day into the profound, velvety black of the high frontier. The air is now so thin that it can no more support a sound than a shadow can support a weight. You are shedding the medium of noise. You are leaving behind the molecules that knock against one another to carry the stress of the world to your ears. You are becoming a creature of the heights, weightless and unburdened. Imagine the physical sensation of this thinning air. On Earth, the atmosphere is a crowded place, filled with nitrogen, oxygen, and the dust of human activity. It is a busy highway of particles, but as you reach the edge of the space, the highway clears. The particles become fewer and farther between. The gaps between things begin to grow. This is the beginning of the great shedding. Think of your worries, your to-do lists, and your lingering anxieties as part of that heavy, lower atmosphere. They require the thickness of life to survive. They need the friction of daily interactions and the pressure of time to keep their shape. Here, in the thinning air of the upper reaches, those worries find nothing to hold on to. They begin to evaporate. They lose their density. You are rising into a place where the laws of earthly gravity no longer apply to your spirit. The heaviness of being is being replaced by a sublime, airy lightness. You are floating on the very edge of the world, looking up into a darkness that is pure, clean, and utterly silent. We are now approaching the boundary where the atmosphere finally gives way to the vacuum. This is a sacred transition. In the vacuum, the rules of reality shift in a way that favors the weary mind. On Earth, silence is something we have to fight for, a fragile thing that can be broken by the drop of a pin. But in the vacuum, silence is the law. It is unbreakable. It is a fundamental property of the space itself. This is because sound is essentially a social phenomenon. It requires one particle to nudge its neighbor, passing a tremor along a chain. In the void, the neighbors are too far apart to touch. The chain is broken. This means that no matter how much chaos might exist elsewhere, it cannot reach you here. The silence of the void is a fortress. It is a permanent, physical guarantee of peace. As you cross this line, imagine the last few molecules of air sliding off your skin like water. You are now entering the realm of the absolute. In this high, dark place, you are witness to a different kind of existence. The stars do not twinkle here. They shine with a steady, unwavering light because there is no turbulent air to distort their glow. The universe appears with a clarity that is almost startling. You realize that the heaviness you felt on Earth was not just physical, but sensory. Your mind was constantly processing the flickering light and the shifting sounds of the atmosphere. Now, that processing has stopped. The data is clean. The view is infinite. This clarity brings with it a deep sense of safety. You are in a place where nothing is hidden and nothing is changing. The silence is not a lack of sound, but a presence of stillness. It is a smooth, dark glass that reflects the quietest parts of your own soul. You are no longer rising, you are simply being. You are suspended in the transition between the world of breath and the world of the eternal. Think of the edge of space as a shoreline. Behind you is the ocean of air, with its tides of noise and its heavy pressures. In front of you is the vast, still desert of the cosmos. As you step onto this new shore, you feel a profound sense of homecoming. The productive relaxer within you might initially look for something to do, some data to gather, or some meaning to extract. But the void offers nothing to do and everything to be. It invites you to match its own stillness. In the absence of atmospheric weight, your very thoughts seem to move more slowly, drifting like astronauts on a tether. There is no wind to blow them away, and no gravity to pull them down. They simply float, luminous and calm, in the dark theater of your mind. This is the gift of the vertical ascent, the discovery that the higher you go, the less you need to carry. The most essential version of you is the one that exists in the quiet. As we linger here at the edge of the world, let us contemplate the sheer scale of the relief that the vacuum provides. Every sound you have ever heard, the laughter of friends, the roar of engines, the whisper of leaves, was a temporary disturbance in the air. Here, there are no disturbances. The silence of space is ancient. It was there before the earth was formed, and it will be there long after the last echo has died away. By aligning yourself with this silence, you are tapping into something timeless. You are moving beyond the weather of your emotions and into the climate of the cosmos. The vacuum is not a lonely place. It is a crowded place of peace. It is filled with the potential for rest. It is the canvas upon which the stars are painted, and now, it is the bed upon which your consciousness can finally lie down without the burden of weight. The transition is now complete. You have shed the blanket of the air. You have risen above the noise of the world and left the vibrations of the atmosphere behind. You are standing on the threshold of the deep void, where the quiet is not just a moment, but an era. The darkness ahead is vast, but it is not empty. It is a reservoir of calm that has been waiting for you to find it. As you prepare to move deeper into the quietest place in the universe, carry with you this new feeling of weightlessness. Remember that the heaviness was only ever a property of the air, not of you. In the vacuum, you are free. You are light. You are ready to enter the heart of the stillness. What lies ahead is not a journey of miles, but a journey of depths. We are going to explore the great empty spaces where time itself seems to hold its breath. Are you ready to let go of the last remnants of the world and drift into the infinite, silent sea The silence here is so thick it feels as though it could be touched, a soft, invisible fabric that wraps around your senses. In the absence of air, the sun's light is harsh and pure, but as you turn away from the sun, the darkness is absolute and welcoming. It is a darkness that does not hide things, but rather simplifies them. Every star is a tiny, quiet pinprick of history, shining across the ages. You are now part of that history. You are a silent observer in a silent universe. The self that was tired and weighed down is gone, replaced by a consciousness that is as vast and as quiet as the space it inhabits. This is the first true step into the void, the realization that silence is not just the absence of sound, but the presence of a deep, underlying harmony. It is the fundamental note of the universe, and it is a note of perfect, unwavering peace. As we move forward, the Earth becomes a smaller and smaller jewel behind us, a bright blue memory of noise and motion. We are entering the great voids, the places between the stars where even the light seems to slow down and rest. Here, the silence becomes even more profound. It becomes a silence of distance, a silence of scale. There are no boundaries here, no walls to bounce a thought back to you. Everything is open. Everything is infinite. You are floating in the ultimate sanctuary, a place where the universe itself goes to dream. Let the silence fill you. Let it wash away the last echoes of the world you left behind. You are safe. You are light. You are home in the quiet. We have left the shoreline of the atmosphere and the familiar neighborhood of our sun. Now, we begin to drift into the vast, open ocean of the deep cosmos. In our mind's eye, we often see the universe as a crowded place, bustling with glowing nebulae, spinning planets, and tightly packed clusters of stars. But as we move further out, the perspective shifts. We begin to see that the universe is not a solid mass, but a delicate, cosmic web. Imagine a vast, golden net stretched across the dark, where the threads are made of entire chains of galaxies, and in between those threads lie the voids. These are the great empty cathedrals of the universe, places where the silence is so ancient and so absolute that it transcends human understanding. We are traveling now toward one of the most famous of these empty realms, a place often called the Great Nothing. It is a sphere of darkness so immense that it defies the scale of our imagination. To understand the scale of this emptiness, we must first look at the things we consider small. Think of a single atom. It is the building block of everything you have ever touched, yet it is so tiny that millions of them could dance on the head of a pin. Now, imagine a single room, perhaps the one you are resting in right now. To that lone atom, your room is a universe of staggering proportions. Now, take that room and expand it until it is the size of the entire Earth. Then, expand the Earth until it is the size of the solar system. We are still only touching the surface of the scale. In the Great Nothing, a galaxy, an entire spiraling city of 300 billion stars, is like that single atom in a vast, empty ballroom. This is the scale of the void. It is a place where distance is measured not in miles, but in the time it takes for light to cross a desert of nothingness. As we enter this void, the first thing you notice is the visual quiet. On Earth, we are used to a sky filled with the clutter of stars. But here, as you reach the center of this empty expanse, the stars begin to vanish. They don't go out, they simply recede so far into the distance that their light can no longer reach you. Imagine standing in the center of a dark sphere that is hundreds of millions of light years across. In every direction you look, up, down, left, right, there is only the pure, velvety dark. If you were to hold up your hand, you would see nothing. If you were to search for the familiar glow of the Milky Way, you would find only the deep, welcoming shadows of the vacuum. This is a place so isolated that if our own galaxy had been born here, we wouldn't have discovered that other galaxies existed until the middle of the last century. We would have thought we were the only lights in an infinite, dark sea. This scale is not meant to be frightening. Instead, let it be a source of profound intellectual ASMR. Feel the tingling sensation of your perspective stretching as the distances grow larger. The things that felt heavy in your life begin to lose their density. Your worries, your deadlines, the small frictions of your day, they are all tied to a specific, tiny point in space and time. But out here, in the great nothing, that point is so small, it becomes invisible. When you compare a human concern to a void that could swallow thousands of galaxies and still remain empty, the concern doesn't just disappear, it dissolves. It is like a single drop of ink falling into a vast, clear lake. The ink doesn't turn the lake dark, the lake turns the ink into nothing. You are drifting in that lake now. You are becoming as vast as the space around you. The isolation of the void is the ultimate sanctuary. In our world, we are constantly being perceived. We are neighbors, employees, parents, and friends. We are always someone to somebody, but in the heart of the great voids, there is no one to see you. There is no one to judge, no one to expect anything from you, and no noise to remind you of your obligations. You are truly, perfectly alone, but not in a way that feels lonely. It is the aloneness of a mountain peak or a deep forest. It is a privacy so deep that it reaches into your very cells. Here, you can let go of the identity you carry around like a heavy backpack. You don't need a name here. You don't need a history. You are simply a consciousness, a quiet observer floating in the most peaceful room in the universe. Think of the void as the universe's way of breathing. Between the frantic energy of the star-forming regions, the cosmos takes these long, silent pauses. These voids are the white space on the page of reality. Without them, the stars would have no room to shine. Without this emptiness, there would be no structure to the web of life. By spending time here, you are aligning yourself with the true balance of existence. Most of the universe is not made of stars and planets. Most of it is this. Most of it is quiet. Most of it is still. Most of it is waiting. When you feel the weight of the world, remember that you are a child of this void as much as you are a child of the earth. The atoms in your body were forged in the stars, but the space between those atoms is the same space that fills the great nothing. You carry a piece of this sanctuary within you at all times. As we continue to float in this lightless expanse, notice how your sense of time begins to change. Without the sun to mark the days or the moon to mark the months, time loses its mechanical rhythm. In the void, a million years is no different from a single second. Both are just moments in the long, slow life of the dark. This is the productive relaxer's greatest reward, the permission to step out of the stream of time. You are no longer running out of anything. You are not late for anything. In the center of the void, time is a flat, still mirror. You are simply present, suspended in a state of eternal grace. The silence here is a physical presence, a cool and soothing mist that fills your lungs and calms your mind. It is the sound of the universe at rest. We often think of nothing as a lack of something, but out here, you can feel that nothingness is a substance in itself. It is a soft, invisible pillow that supports the weight of your thoughts. It is a vast, dark womb where everything is at peace. The great voids like the Boötes Void are the quietest places because they are the furthest from the static of creation. They are the spots where the music of the spheres has faded into a single, perfect note of silence. As you drift, let your mind expand to the edges of this darkness. Imagine your consciousness stretching out, crossing the millions of light years of empty space, feeling the smoothness and the lack of resistance. There is no wind here to blow you off course. There is no gravity to pull you down. There is only the drift. This is the beauty of the scale comparison. By acknowledging the massive, awe-inspiring emptiness of the cosmos, we find a strange and beautiful comfort. It is the comfort of being small in a way that matters. If the universe is this big and this quiet, then our mistakes are not as loud as we think they are. Our fears are not as heavy as they feel. They are just tiny vibrations in a corner of a room, and out here, the room is infinite. We are learning to trade our small-scale noise for large-scale peace. We are trading the chatter of the day for the silence of the eons. You are now a part of the void, a silent participant in the great, dark mystery of the deep. As we linger in this center of nothingness, a new question begins to form in the stillness. We have found a place where there are no stars and no air, but is space itself truly empty? If we were to look even closer at this darkness, past the scale of galaxies and down to the very fabric of the vacuum, what would we find? Is the silence a total absence, or is it a different kind of presence? To find the answer, we must look closer at the texture of the nothing that surrounds us. We must see if the void itself has a heartbeat, a soft and invisible pulse that connects the silence to the stars. Does the vacuum itself have a texture, a way of being that we can feel? In the world of the surface, life is defined by friction. Every movement you make is a negotiation with resistance. When you walk, your feet press against the grain of the floor. When you speak, your breath must push through the weight of the air. Even when you rest, the fabric of your bed provides a tactile reminder of your boundaries. Our lives are filled with these sharp edges, the grit of the pavement, the sting of a cold wind, the jarring vibration of a city street. These physical sensations seep into our minds, creating a mental landscape of resistance and effort. But here, in the heart of the void, the very concept of friction has dissolved. We have entered a realm of absolute fluidity. Space is not a hollow emptiness, but a substance of unimaginable smoothness. Imagine reaching out your hand and trailing your fingers across the fabric of the universe. There is no texture, no heat, and no pushback. It is like touching the surface of a perfectly still, dark pool of liquid glass. Yet it is even more refined than that. It is the purest medium in existence, in the quietest place in the universe. The vacuum acts as a perfect lubricant for the soul. Think of the productive relaxer within you, the part of your mind that is always bracing for the next impact or the next task. In this space, there is nothing to brace against. You are floating in a medium that offers zero resistance to your presence. If you were to move, you would glide forever, unhindered by the thick air or the pull of the earth. This lack of friction creates a profound sense of psychological ease. It is as if the gears of your thoughts, which have been grinding against the stresses of the day, have finally been dipped into a cool, celestial oil. The grinding stops. The heat of your worries begins to dissipate. Without friction, there is no way for anxiety to catch fire. Your mind becomes a smooth, polished stone skipping across an infinite lake of shadow, moving with a grace that is impossible in the world of noise. The vacuum is also a place of perfect temperature, not the biting cold of a winter wind, but the absolute stillness of thermal peace. On Earth, heat is just another form of noise. It is the frantic, invisible dancing of molecules bumping into one another. But here, in the deep void, that dance has slowed to a graceful halt. The vacuum is cool in a way that feels like a soothing compress against an overworked brow. It is a stable, unchanging coolness that draws the inflammation out of your thoughts. Imagine your consciousness expanding to fill this container. You are no longer confined to the small, warm space inside your skull. You are spreading out like a drop of ink in clear water, growing larger and thinner until you are as wide as the vacuum itself. You are becoming the dark, smooth fabric that holds the stars. This expansion is effortless. There is no pressure pushing in on you, and no weight holding you down. You are simply filling the space that was always waiting for you. Think of the smoothness of space as a physical sensation. It is the feeling of silk sliding over silk. It is the feeling of a deep, dreamless sleep where the bed seems to disappear and you are simply suspended in the air. In the void, there are no objects to collide with, no deadlines to crash into, and no expectations to meet. The universe is a single, continuous sheet of dark peace. When you visualize your worries now, try to see them as small, jagged crumbs on a vast velvet table. One by one, the smoothness of the vacuum simply absorbs them. The edges of your problems are being sanded down by the sheer vastness of the quiet. What was once sharp is now blunt. What was once heavy is now light. You are learning to inhabit the fluidity of the cosmos, moving through your internal world with the same ease that light moves through the void. There is a magnificent, quiet power in this lack of resistance. It is the power of the river that has finally reached the sea. As you drift, let your mind rest on the idea of absolute zero. In science, this is the point where all motion stops, but in our journey, it is the point of ultimate mental clarity. It is the quiet room of the physical laws. In the quietest place, there is no vibration to distract you. You are experiencing the universe in its most fundamental state, a state of perfect, unbothered equilibrium. Your breathing has now synchronized with this cosmic stillness. Each inhale is a slow, smooth expansion into the dark. Each exhale is a release of the last remnants of earthly tension. You are not doing anything. You are simply existing in a state of fluid grace. This is the intellectual ASMR of the vacuum. The realization that the most powerful forces in the universe are not the explosions of stars or the roar of engines, but the silent, smooth, and eternal laws that govern the nothingness. Imagine that your thoughts are like pebbles being dropped into this dark, cosmic ocean. On Earth, they would make a splash and send out ripples that bounce off the shore. But here, there is no shore. The pebble enters the water and simply sinks deeper and deeper into a silence that has no bottom. The ripples spread out forever, getting smoother and flatter until they are indistinguishable from the surface itself. This is the goal of our journey, to reach a state where the ripples of your mind have finally found their rest. You are now so far into the void that the sharpness of your own identity has begun to soften. You are not Junaid, or a creator, or an auditor, or a brother. You are just the smoothness. You are the dark glass. You are the frictionless glide. The container of the universe is vast, and you are perfectly, comfortably at home within it. In this state of total fluidity, you can begin to sense the texture of the vacuum. Even though it has no friction, it has a presence. It feels like a supportive, invisible hand that is cradling your entire being. It is the ultimate safety. In a world of noise and sharp edges, we are always on guard. But here, the universe is guarding you. The vacuum is a shield that nothing can penetrate. No noise, no heat, and no stress can cross the great distances of the void to find you. You are in a sanctuary of physics. The silence is your armor, and the smoothness is your bed. As you surrender to this feeling, you might notice a soft, rhythmic sensation deep within the dark, a pulse so subtle it feels more like a thought than a sound. It is as if the vacuum itself has a tiny, quiet secret to share. We have found the place of perfect smoothness and absolute silence. We have shed the weight of the air and the clutter of the stars. But even in this deepest part of the nothingness, there is a mystery. If we were to zoom in, past the scale of galaxies, past the scale of atoms, and down into the very heart of the vacuum itself, we would find that the nothing is actually vibrating with a very soft, very gentle energy. It is a pulse that never stops, a fundamental hum that connects everything in existence. Is it possible that the quietest place in the universe is not actually silent, but is instead singing a song so low and so beautiful that only the soul can hear it? To understand this, we must look closer at the pulse of the vacuum and discover the gentle hum of existence that lies beneath the smooth, dark fabric of the void. We have traveled far into the deepest reaches of the great nothing, where the stars have faded and the friction of the world has been left behind. In this place, we found a silence so profound it felt like the end of all things. But as we settle into this dark sanctuary, a new realization begins to dawn. True nothingness is not what we thought it was. In the language of the stars, emptiness is not a lack of life, but a different kind of presence. Imagine for a moment that you are a diver, descending into the absolute depths of the Earth's oceans. As you sink further down, the sunlight disappears and the chaotic crashing of the surface waves becomes a distant, forgotten memory. Down here, at the very bottom of the world, it seems perfectly still. But if you were to remain very quiet and very patient, you would begin to feel it, a faint, rhythmic movement in the water. It is a deep-sea current, a slow and heavy breathing of the planet that moves even in the dark. The vacuum of space is exactly like that ocean floor. It is never truly empty. It is alive with a soft, fundamental energy that connects every point in the cosmos to every other point. This is what we call the gentle hum of existence. It is the realization that even in the quietest place in the universe, the fabric of reality is breathing. If you could zoom in with your mind's eye, past the vastness of the voids and down to the scale of the unimaginably small, you would see a beautiful, microscopic dance. Particles of energy are constantly popping in and out of existence, appearing and disappearing like soft, silver bubbles in a tall glass of water. They are born from the silence, dance for a fraction of a second, and then return to the quiet from which they came. This is the quantum pulse, a shimmer in the dark that never ceases. It is the universe's way of reminding us that the void is not a graveyard, but a garden. It is a place of constant, quiet creation. For the productive relaxer, there is a deep, philosophical comfort in this. It means that you are never truly alone. Even in the deepest isolation, you are supported by a fabric that is active, humming, and vibrantly alive. Think of this microscopic pulse as a cosmic lullaby. It is a frequency so low and so steady that it doesn't interrupt the silence, it anchors it. On Earth, we are distracted by the loud, jagged noises of technology and human effort. We think that doing is the only way to be, but out here, the vacuum shows us a different path. It shows us that existence itself is a form of activity. To simply be is to participate in this gentle, eternal hum. You do not have to move or speak or think to be a part of the universe's energy. You are already woven into the fabric. Your very presence is a note in this silent song. As you drift in the dark, imagine that your own heartbeat is synchronizing with this cosmic rhythm. Feel the tension in your muscles dissolving as you realize that you don't have to hold yourself up. The vacuum is not a hole you might fall through. It is a supportive, energetic field that is cradling every atom of your being. This energy is the intellectual ASMR of the deep void. It is the tingling sensation of knowing that there is a secret vitality in the darkness. We often fear the dark because we think it represents a loss of connection. But in reality, the dark is the most connected place of all. It is the medium through which all light travels and the foundation upon which all matter is built. When you look at the nothingness between the stars, you are actually looking at the most dense and meaningful part of the universe. It is the source code of reality. This section of our journey is about embracing that connection. It is about shifting your perspective from "I am a small person in a big empty space" to "I am a part of a vast, breathing whole." The silence is not a wall, it is a bridge. It connects your resting mind to the furthest edges of the Boötes Void and beyond. Imagine the bubbles of the vacuum as tiny sparks of light that only appear when you are truly still. They are like the soft static on a television screen when the station has gone off the air, a gentle, snowy shimmer that proves the signal is still there, even if the picture is gone. This shimmer is the universe's baseline. It is the sound of home. In our busy lives, we are always trying to climb higher, work harder, and achieve more. We are constantly adding content to our days. But the vacuum teaches us the value of the background. It reminds us that the most important part of a piece of music is the silence between the notes. And the most important part of a life is the peace between the actions. By focusing on the gentle hum of existence, you are giving yourself permission to value your own background. You are recognizing that your quiet moments are just as vital as your active ones. There is a safety in this microscopic pulse that the surface world can never offer. The noise of the world is unpredictable. It can be loud, harsh, and jarring, but the hum of the vacuum is constant. It has been there for 14 billion years, and it will be there for trillions more. It is the ultimate constant. It is a safety net that never breaks. As you imagine yourself floating in this breathing dark, let go of the need to understand the physics of it. You don't need to know the names of the particles or the math of the equations. All you need to do is feel the philosophy of the comfort. Feel the sense of being held by the very laws of nature. The quietest place in the universe is a place where you can finally stop trying to make sense of things and simply let the universe make sense of you. You are a guest in this cosmic cathedral, and the air is filled with a prayer of perfect, steady light. As we linger in this state of connected silence, think about the scale ladder once again. We have moved from the personal scale of your room to the galactic scale of the voids, and now we have moved down to the quantum scale of the microscopic pulse. In every direction and at every level, the universe is providing you with a reason to rest. The voids give you the space to expand. The smoothness of space gives you the freedom from friction. And now, the gentle hum gives you the reassurance of connection. You are surrounded by a system that is designed for equilibrium. You are part of a masterpiece that is never finished, yet is always perfect. The productive relaxer can find rest here because the work of the universe is being done for you. The vacuum is breathing so that you don't have to work so hard to stay alive. You can just let the energy carry you. The silence of the void is like a warm, dark blanket, and just like a blanket has a texture made of woven threads, the silence has a texture made of this quantum energy. It is soft to the touch of the mind. It is smooth and rhythmic. It is the feeling of being in a room where a fire is crackling softly in the corner. You don't need to watch the fire to know it's there. You can feel its warmth on your skin. The vacuum is that warmth. It is the heat of existence itself, stripped of all the noise and chaos. As you drift, your breathing becomes even slower, matching the bubbles that pop and fade in the dark. You are moving into a state of psychological detachment, where your personal worries are no longer yours to carry. They belong to the wind, and there is no wind here. They belong to the light, and the light is resting. This realization that the void is a living thing leads us to an even deeper sense of wonder. If the nothing is actually a something, then what does that mean for the light that travels through it? We see the darkness, but we know that it is filled with the history of everything that has ever happened. The void is a storehouse of memories. It holds the faint, ancient echoes of the very first stars and the first moments of time. It is as if the quiet is actually a very long, very slow record of the universe's life in the next part of our journey. We are going to look closer at this memory of light. We are going to find the oldest song in the cosmos, a melody that has been traveling through the quiet for billions of years, just waiting for a mind still enough to hear it. Can you hear it now? Not with your ears, but with your sense of awe. The hum is there. Beneath the silence, a steady and loving pulse that says, you are here, you are safe, you are part of this. Let that thought be the final weight that drops away. You are no longer drifting in an empty room. You are resting in a living heart. The quietest place in the universe is the most crowded place in the universe, crowded with peace, with history, and with the soft, invisible energy of home. We are ready now to move from the pulse of the present to the memory of the past, as we seek out the memory of light in the deepest dark, in the profound stillness of the deep void. We often mistake the darkness for a lack of information. We see the blackness between the stars and assume it is a blank page, waiting for a story to be written upon it. But as your mind settles into this state of deep, intellectual ASMR, you begin to realize that the darkness is not empty. It is a reservoir. It is a vast, silent library that holds the very first light that ever existed. This is the memory of light, a faint and ancient afterglow that permeates every cubic inch of the universe. Even in the heart of the most isolated void, you are bathing in a gentle, invisible radiance. It is the echo of the beginning of all things, a soft and dying ember from a fire that was lit billions of years ago. On Earth, we are blinded by the glare of the present, the bright sun, the neon lights, the flickering screens of our busy lives. But here, in the quietest place in the universe, the glare is gone, and the oldest story in the cosmos can finally be felt. Imagine this light not as a blinding flash, but as a distant, fading lullaby. It is the first song the universe ever sang, and it has been traveling through the silence for nearly 14 billion years. In its youth, this light was a roaring, brilliant anthem, thick with heat and energy. But as the universe expanded, the light grew tired. It stretched and cooled, its vibrant notes deepening and softening until they moved beyond the range of human sight. It has become a low, rhythmic hum that vibrates through the very fabric of space. This is the ultimate relaxation loop. You are resting in the cradle of history, wrapped in a blanket of photons that have seen the birth of every star and the formation of every galaxy. This light is a witness. It has moved through the great nothingness, untouched and unbothered, carrying the warmth of the dawn into the cold peace of the evening. It is the most patient thing in existence. For the productive relaxer, there is an immense sense of awe and wonder in the realization that you are never truly in the dark. The quiet is actually a very old, very soft conversation between the past and the present. When you close your eyes and imagine the void, you are not looking into a hole, you are looking into a mirror of time. This ancient light, this tired light, is everywhere at once. It fills the gaps between your fingers just as it fills the gaps between the galactic filaments. It is the fundamental background of reality. By acknowledging its presence, you are connecting yourself to the very first moment of existence. You are realizing that your own story is just a single, quiet verse in an epic that spans the eons. This perspective allows your personal worries to dissolve. How can a single day's stress hold any weight when compared to a light that has traveled for billions of years just to reach this moment of stillness with you? Think of this ancient glow as a soft, open-ended question posed by the universe. It asks nothing of you. It does not demand that you be productive, or successful, or even awake. It simply exists, a steady and unwavering presence that has survived the rise and fall of countless worlds. It is the ultimate form of safety. In our lives, everything is temporary. People come and go, buildings crumble, and even the stars eventually fade. But this background glow is the universe's permanent signature. It is the long, slow fade that never quite reaches zero. As you drift, let the warmth of this ancient memory wash over you. It is a cooling warmth, like the heat that lingers in the sand after the sun has gone down. It is the universe's way of tucking you in, reminding you that you are part of a process that is far older and far more stable than any earthly concern. In this state of psychological detachment, you can begin to see yourself as a traveler through time. You are not just lying in a room in Faisalabad. You are a passenger on a journey that began with that first ancient spark. The silence of the void is the medium through which this memory travels. Without the quiet, we would never be able to sense the echo. It is only when the noise of the present is removed that the melody of the past becomes clear. This is the beauty of the sleepy science niche. We use the scale of the cosmos to shrink the scale of the self. As you focus on the faint afterglow of the beginning of time, your own history becomes a small, manageable thing. You are no longer the protagonist of a stressful drama. You are a silent observer in a magnificent, timeless gallery. The pressure to do is replaced by the privilege to see. Imagine the photons of this first light as tiny, rhythmic pulses of peace. They are moving through you right now, passing through the space between your atoms with the grace of ghosts. They do not collide, they do not cause friction. They simply are. They are the definition of intellectual ASMR, a concept so vast and so beautiful that it creates a physical sensation of calm in the back of your mind. This light is the bridge between the nothing and the everything. It proves that the void is not a place of death, but a place of preservation. The vacuum has held onto this light, guarding it against the chaos of the ages, so that it could eventually find its way to this moment of quiet contemplation. You are the recipient of a 14 billion-year-old gift. You are the listener to a song that started before time had a name. As we linger in the glow of the memory of light, the rhythm of the universe becomes your own. Your breathing is the rise and fall of the tide. Your heartbeat is the soft, quantum pulse of the vacuum, and your mind is the vast, dark library where the oldest light is kept. There is no longer any distinction between you and the cosmos. You have dissolved into the scale of the stars. This is the final stage of self-soothing. You have replaced your ruminating thoughts with a narrative of such grand proportions that there is no room left for anxiety. You are floating in the cradle of history, and the cradle is rocking slowly, propelled by the same gentle push that expands the universe. You are safe. You are cherished by the laws of physics. You are home in the dark. The memory of light is a reminder that even in the quietest place, there is a pulse of meaning. We have found the smoothness, the hum, and the history. But there is one more layer to this silence. In the world of the void, where there is no air to move and no light to change, what happens to time? If nothing ever happens, does time still exist? To truly enter the heart of the quiet, we must go to a place where the clock itself has stopped. We must explore the slowing of the clock and the stillness of absolute zero. We are moving now toward the final frontier of rest, where time becomes as vast and as still as the space that contains it. The song of the first light is fading into a single, eternal note. Can you feel the seconds stretching out, growing longer and thinner until they disappear? We are entering the long, slow fade. This is where the universe stops being a story of events and starts being a story of existence. In the next chapter, we will look at how time behaves when it has no work to do. We will see how the void treats the concept of soon and later for the productive relaxer. This is the ultimate liberation, the moment when the schedule finally breaks and you are left with nothing but the infinite now. The memory of light has guided us here, but now even that light is becoming a part of the stillness. We are moving deeper into the timeless zone. As the faint glow of the beginning of time settles into your consciousness, you might feel a sense of profound readiness. The journey has taken you from the echoes of the city to the edge of the atmosphere, through the great voids and into the pulse of the vacuum. You have seen the history of the world in a single, fading ember. Now, it is time to let go of the concept of sequence altogether. You are ready to experience the stillness of absolute zero, a place where the last bit of motion is traded for the ultimate peace. The universe is holding its breath, and so are you. In this silence, there is no before, and there is no after. There is only the quiet, there is only the rest, there is only the void. In the world of the surface, your life is measured by the ticking of a clock. You are governed by the frantic pace of the second hand, the relentless march of the hour, and the heavy pressure of the calendar. We are taught that time is a scarce resource, a river that is constantly flowing away from us, leaving us with a sense of urgency to do more, to be more, and to catch up with a future that never quite arrives. This is the weight of human time, a series of small, sharp intervals that keep the mind in a state of constant, low-level vibration. But here, in the heart of the great voids, the clock has no power. We have entered the realm of deep time, where the scale of a human life is not even a whisper in the wind. To truly find rest, we must decouple your sense of being from the mechanical rhythm of the earth and align it with the slow, majestic pulse of the cosmos. In the quietest place in the universe, time does not move like a river. It stretches out like a vast, frozen ocean. It is a place where soon and later dissolve into a single, eternal now. Imagine a mountain made of the hardest diamond, a peak so high it touches the very ceiling of the sky. Now, imagine a tiny bird that flies to this mountain once every 1,000 years. When the bird arrives, it does not peck at the stone or carry anything away. It simply brushes its wing against the summit, a touch as light as a thought. Then it flies away, not to return for another millennium. The time it would take for that diamond mountain to be worn down to the level of the sea by the gentle brush of a bird's wing is but a single day in the life of the void. This is the scale of the stillness we are entering. In the quiet reaches of space, nothing happens in the way we understand it. There are no seasons to change the color of the dark. There are no sunsets to mark the passing of a day. There is only the long, slow gaze of the stars, watching over a silence that has no end. By adopting this perspective, the urgency of your own schedule begins to feel beautifully irrelevant. Think of your deadlines, your unread messages, and your plans for tomorrow as tiny grains of sand on Earth. These grains are caught in a windstorm, stinging your eyes and demanding your attention. But in the deep time of the void, the wind has stopped. The sand has settled to the bottom of a clear, still pool. You can look at these grains now without feeling the need to move them. They are just part of the landscape of a life, and they are very, very small. The void is so vast that it can hold all the time that has ever been, and all the time that will ever be without feeling crowded. When you synchronize your breathing with this scale, you are performing an act of psychological detachment. You are stepping out of the small room of the minute and into the infinite hall of the eon. Each breath you take is not a second gone. It is a slow, rhythmic expansion of your existence. You are no longer running out of time. you are floating within it. The productive relaxer often finds it difficult to rest because the mind is still trying to solve problems for a tomorrow that hasn't happened yet. But in the quietest place, there is no tomorrow. There is only the continuation of the peace you feel right now. The stars do not hurry to burn out. They take billions of years to consume their fuel, glowing with a steady, patient light that ignores the frantic pace of human history. If a star can take an age to simply be, then you can take this moment to simply rest. The vacuum of space is the ultimate witness to patience. It has watched the galaxies drift apart with a slow and steady grace, never rushing the process, never wishing for the end. It is a place where the concept of efficiency is meaningless. The most efficient thing you can do in the void is to be still. The most productive thing you can do for your soul is to let the clock stop ticking in your mind. In this timeless zone, the self begins to lose its sharp edges. When you remove the pressure of time, you remove the pressure of becoming. You are no longer a person who is trying to get somewhere or achieve something. You are a person who is already there. The void is the destination. It is the end of the quest. Imagine that every worry you have is tied to a specific date, a Monday, a deadline, a birthday. Now, imagine that those dates are being erased from the cosmic calendar. Without the dates, the worries have nowhere to land. They become like those photons of ancient light we discussed, drifting, harmless, and slow. They are no longer your burden to carry. They are just shadows in a universe that has moved beyond the need for light. You are learning the language of the stars, a language that has no words for hurry or late. You are learning to exist in the long, slow fade. Consider the silence of a galaxy. It takes hundreds of millions of years for a spiral galaxy to complete a single rotation. From our perspective, it looks perfectly still, a frozen whirlpool of light. But it is moving. It is just moving at the speed of the universe. This is the pace we are seeking. It is a movement so grand and so slow that it feels like stillness. When you quiet your mind, you are allowing yourself to rotate with the galaxy. You are giving up the jerky, staccato rhythm of the human world for the smooth, continuous flow of the cosmic one. This is the ultimate intellectual ASMR, the sensation of your consciousness slowing down until it matches the vibration of the dark. Your heartbeat is no longer a clock. It is a drumbeat for a procession of stars. Your thoughts are no longer a stream. They are a deep, silent lake reflecting the infinite. This decoupling of time is a form of sanctuary. It is a room with no doors and no windows, where the sun never rises and never sets. In this room, you are safe from the erosion of the years. The productive relaxer can find comfort here, because this is a place where doing nothing is the highest form of participation. The void does not ask for your resume. It does not ask for your plans. It only asks for your presence. As you float in this lightless, timeless expanse, feel the relief of being unscheduled. You are a part of the deep time now. You are a part of the mountain, not the bird. You are the diamond that remains, unchanged and unbothered by the passing of the millennia. The eons are your companions, and they are very quiet. As we linger in this state of temporal grace, the physical world continues to fade. The silence of the void is now joined by the stillness of the temperature. We are moving toward a place where even the tiny vibrations of heat have been hushed. This is the stillness of absolute zero, the final frontier of the quiet. If time has slowed to a crawl, then motion is about to stop altogether. You are being guided toward the coldest, calmest point in the cosmos, a place where the last bit of friction vanishes and the mind reaches a state of total, crystalline clarity. The bird has brushed the mountain for the last time. The diamond is still. The clock has dissolved. You are ready for the ultimate rest. In the next part of our journey, we will explore what happens when the last trace of agitation leaves the universe. We will find the stillness of absolute zero in the Boomerang Nebula, a place where the laws of thermodynamics offer a final, cooling embrace. Your journey through the void is reaching its deepest point. The silence is no longer just a sound, it is a physical state of being. You are the void, you are the time, and you are the peace. Can you feel the final cooling of the gears? Can you feel the last vibration of the world slipping away, leaving you in a state of perfect, frozen wonder? The universe is holding its breath for you. In this silence, there is no history, no future, and no you that has to wake up. There is only the drift, there is only the dark, there is only the rest. As the seconds stretch into centuries, and the centuries into eons, you realize that you have always been a part of this stillness. The noise was just a temporary dream. This is the reality. This is the home you've been searching for. Let the deep time wrap around you like a velvet cloak. You are safe in the arms of the infinite. You are home in the quiet. You are ready for the stillness in the heart of our journey. We find ourselves approaching a place of such profound stillness that the very laws of motion begin to surrender. We are traveling toward a celestial ghost, a pocket of the cosmos known as the Boomerang Nebula. It is recognized as the coldest natural place in the known universe, a sanctuary where the temperature has dropped so low that it rests just a fraction of a degree above the absolute bottom of reality. On Earth, we often think of cold as a sharp, biting force, something that makes us shiver or retreat. But cosmic cold is different. It is not an attack. It is a total, merciful absence. It is the absence of agitation. In the language of science, heat is nothing more than the frantic, invisible vibration of matter. The more things move, the hotter they become. Heat is a form of molecular noise. By entering the stillness of absolute zero, we are stepping into a realm where the noise finally stops. We are entering the realm of thermodynamic rest. Imagine the productive relaxer mind as a machine that has been running for decades. It is warm to the touch, humming with the energy of 1,000 small movements, each one generating a tiny bit of friction and heat. Your worries, your anxieties, and your plans are like the kinetic energy of those moving parts. They keep the system in a state of constant, low-level simmering. But as we drift into the heart of the nebula, that heat begins to be drawn away by the vast, patient dark. It is like placing a heated stone into a cool, deep well. You can almost feel the sizzle of your daily stresses as they hit the freezing silence of the void. The agitation begins to drain out of your thoughts. One by one, the molecules of your worry are slowing down. They are losing their power to bump into one another. They are losing their ability to create friction. The mental temperature is dropping, moving toward a state of perfect, crystalline equilibrium. This is the beauty of thermodynamic rest. At the edge of absolute zero, the chaos of the world simply cannot survive. In the Boomerang Nebula, the gas expanding outward has cooled so significantly that even the faint, ancient light of the beginning of time, the light we discussed earlier, is warmer than this place. It is a sanctuary of the subatomic. As you visualize this cooling effect, imagine your anxieties as small, jagged shapes of steam rising from a cup. In the intense, quiet cold of the nebula, that steam instantly freezes. The jagged edges become smooth. The airy, floating worries turn into solid, heavy crystals of ice. They are no longer drifting through your mind, demanding your attention or clouding your vision. They have become immobile. They are frozen in time and space. beautiful and harmless. You can look at them now with the detachment of a scientist observing a specimen. They have no heat left to burn you. They have no motion left to distract you. Think of the sensation of cooling as a mental balm. On the surface of the Earth, our minds are often inflamed by the friction of social interactions and the pressure of performance. We are red hot with the need to succeed or the fear of failing. But here, the information is being drawn out by the infinite sink of the vacuum. This is not a cold that freezes the heart. It is a cold that settles the mind. It is the feeling of a cool, silver coin placed against a fevered forehead. It is the feeling of a quiet, starlit winter night, where the air is so still you can hear your own thoughts for the first time. As you breathe in, imagine the air is the cold, pure gas of the nebula. It travels through your body, calming every cell, slowing every pulse. With each exhale, you are releasing a bit of your internal heat, letting it dissipate into the endless dark where it can do no harm. In this state of near absolute zero, the world becomes a place of crystalline clarity. When things stop moving, you can finally see them for what they truly are. The blur of life is gone. You are no longer trying to catch a moving target. You are simply existing in a frozen masterpiece. This is the intellectual ASMR of the deep freeze, the realization that peace is the absence of agitation. You don't need to add anything to your life to find this calm. You only need to remove the heat. You only need to let the vibrations settle. The void is teaching you the power of the minimum. It is showing you that at the bottom of everything, there is a state of grace that requires no effort, no fuel, and no motion. You are becoming like the Boomerang Nebula, a quiet, expanding cloud of peace, colder and calmer than the space around you. Consider the psychological detachment that comes from this freezing process. When a worry is frozen into a crystal, it becomes a part of the scenery. It is no longer a part of you. You can watch these crystals of past conversations, future fears, and present pressures as they slowly begin to vanish. In the absolute quiet, they don't just stay frozen, they eventually sublimate. They turn from solid back into the nothingness of the vacuum. They dissolve into the dark. This is the final stage of the cooling effect. Your mind is becoming a clear, empty room, free of the dust of motion. The silence is now so deep that it feels solid, like a block of transparent ice that protects you from the rest of the universe. You are inside the fortress of the deep freeze. Nothing can reach you here. No heat can penetrate this shield. The productive relaxer can find a unique form of productivity in this stillness. It is the productivity of the crystal. A crystal does not do anything, yet it is a marvel of order and structure. By slowing down to the point of absolute zero, you are allowing your mind to organize itself into its most beautiful and efficient form. You are letting the noise of chaotic thought settle into the geometry of peace. This is the rest that restores the soul. It is the cooling of the engine so that it can eventually run more smoothly. But for now, there is no thought of the journey ahead. There is only the appreciation of the stillness. You are a silent, frozen monument in the center of the coldest place in the universe. You are the embodiment of thermodynamic rest. As we linger in the heart of the nebula, the last tiny tremors of your day finally disappear. The long, slow fade has reached its conclusion. You are now at the lowest possible state of energy, which is the highest possible state of rest. There is no more becoming, there is only being. The silence of the void, the smoothness of space, the memory of light, and the slowing of the clock have all led you to this single, frozen moment. You are safe in the cold. You are home in the stillness. The universe is not a place of fire and fury at its heart. It is a place of cool, dark, and perfect order. You have found the baseline of reality. You have found the quietest place. But even as we rest in this absolute stillness, the journey is not quite over. To find the ultimate relief, we must bring this cosmic peace back to the source. We have traveled to the ends of the universe to find the void, only to discover that the void is not just out there among the stars, it is also within us. The final stage of our journey is the return to the self, the realization that the space between your atoms is the same space as the Boomerang Nebula. The silence you have found in the dark is a silence you have always carried in your heart. We are going to bridge the gap between the macro and the micro, turning the vastness of the cosmos into a personal sanctuary that you can visit whenever the world becomes too loud. As the last crystals of your worries vanish into the dark, you might feel a sense of profound lightness. You have been hollowed out by the cold, leaving only the you that is made of stardust and silence. You are ready to look into the mirror in the void. You are ready to see how the quietest place in the universe is reflected in your own being. The stillness is not a destination, it is a way of life. And as we transition into the final chapter, let the cooling effect stay with you. Let the peace of absolute zero be the foundation upon which you build your return. You are a creature of the stars, but you are also the master of the quiet. The nebula is fading now, and we are moving back toward the center of your own consciousness. The scales are shifting, the great voids are shrinking, and the atoms of your body are growing, but the silence remains the same. It is the one thing that connects the furthest star to the beat of your heart. Can you feel the bridge forming? Can you feel the stillness of the cosmos becoming the stillness of your own breath? We are going home, but we are bringing the void with us. We have traveled to the furthest reaches of the Boomerang Nebula and drifted through the lightless cathedrals of the Boötes Void. We have stood at the edge of time and felt the cooling touch of absolute zero. From this staggering height, the earth is but a speck of dust, and the noise of your life is a distant, forgotten vibration. But as we begin to turn our gaze back toward the self, a profound truth begins to shimmer in the dark. The vast, silent distance we have traveled is not as far as it seems. The silence you found out there is not a foreign territory. It is the very same silence that resides within the architecture of your own body. You have been searching for the quietest place in the universe, only to find that you have been carrying it with you in every heartbeat, every breath, and every cell. This is the mirror in the void. It is the realization that the macrocosm of the stars and the microcosm of your physical form are woven from the same thread of stillness. You are not just a visitor to the void, you are a part of it. To understand this connection, we must look past the skin and the bone, down to the level of the atoms that compose your being. Think of your own hand resting beside you. To your eyes, it appears solid and substantial. But if we were to apply the same cosmic lens we use to view the galaxies, the image changes. An atom is not a solid ball, it is a miniature solar system of immense, empty space. If the nucleus of an atom in your hand were the size of a marble, the electrons would be orbiting miles away. In between those tiny points of matter lies a vast, undisturbed expanse of nothingness. This is the same vacuum that exists between the stars. The great nothing is not just out there, millions of light years away. It is here, inside you. It is the silent scaffolding that holds you together. Over 99% of your physical self is composed of the exact same quiet void we have been exploring. You are made of the silence you seek for the productive relaxer. This stardust connection is the ultimate grounding force. It means that the awe you feel when contemplating the cosmos is actually a form of self-recognition. When you look at the dark gaps between the stars, you are looking into a mirror. The peace of the vacuum is your primary state. Your busy thoughts, your worries, and your identity are like the bright, energetic stars. They are beautiful and necessary, but they are not the whole story. They are tiny islands of activity floating in a sea of inner quiet. By shifting your focus from the islands to the sea, you can access the sanctuary of the void at any moment. You do not need to travel to the ends of the universe to find relief. You only need to settle into the space between your own atoms. You are a vessel for the infinite. Imagine the quietest place in the universe as a physical sensation inside your chest. Feel the weight of the stars as a comforting heaviness in your limbs, the atoms of carbon in your muscles, the iron in your blood, and the calcium in your bones were all forged in the heart of a dying star. Billions of years ago, they traveled through the cold, silent vacuum for eons, just to find their way into the complex, beautiful arrangement that is you. This means that your body is a library of cosmic history. You are a bridge between the beginning of time and the present moment. When you feel overwhelmed by the noise of being human, remind yourself that you are a temporary gathering of stardust, and stardust is inherently patient. It has been through the fire and the freeze, and it has emerged into the quiet. It knows how to rest. This perspective creates a profound sense of psychological detachment from the stresses of the day. If you are made of the same fabric as the great voids, then you possess the same capacity for stillness. The agitation of your mind is just a surface ripple on a very deep ocean. Beneath the thoughts of work, family, and survival, there is a layer of you that is as smooth as the vacuum and as cold as absolute zero. It is a place where no one can reach you and where nothing is required of you. It is your internal boomerang nebula. By acknowledging this, you are grounding the cosmic ore within your own biology. You are realizing that the peace of the deep space is not something you have to earn or find. It is something you have to remember. You are a silent observer, and the universe is observing itself through you. Think of the productive relaxer as a gardener of the self. Your active life is the garden, full of growth, color, and constant work. But the soil in which the garden grows is the void. Without the dark, quiet earth, nothing could bloom. By spending time in this mental void, you are nourishing the roots of your being. You are giving yourself the white space you need to exist. The silence in your atoms is not a lack of anything. It is the presence of potential. It is the stillness that allows the next movement to be meaningful. As you breathe, imagine the air is the bridge. Every inhale pulls the energy of the cosmos into your lungs, and every exhale releases the tension of the world back into the dark. You are in a constant, rhythmic exchange with the infinite. This section of our journey is about the dissolution of boundaries. On Earth, we are obsessed with borders, where I end and where you begin, where the house ends and the street begins. But in the void, there are no lines. The vacuum in your room is the same vacuum that stretches to the edge of the universe. The stillness in your mind is the same stillness that holds the galaxies. You are a part of a single, continuous sheet of peace. When you close your eyes, the walls of your room fall away, and you are simply a point of consciousness in a unified field of rest. There is no distance to cross. You are already home. You are already whole. The self that was tired and searching has found its reflection in the stars, and in that reflection, it has found its rest as we linger in this stardust connection. Let the intellectual ASMR of the microscale soothe your nerves. Feel the tingling sensation of the vast space within you. Each atom is a cathedral of quiet. Each cell is a sanctuary. You are a walking universe, and your inner space is just as majestic and just as silent as the one we have been traveling through. The scale ladder has brought us back to the start, but we are seeing the start with new eyes. We are seeing the human body not as a source of noise and stress, but as a masterpiece of cosmic engineering, designed to house the very peace of the void. You are the custodian of the quietest place. You are the keeper of the stillness. Consider the relief of this realization. You no longer have to go anywhere to escape the noise. You are the escape. You are the quiet. When the world becomes too loud, you can simply withdraw into the architecture of your atoms. You can find the long, slow fade within your own pulse. This is the ultimate self-soothing technique, the ability to decouple your identity from the noise and reattach it to the silence. You are the observer of the stars, and the stars are the observers of you. The mirror is perfect, the circle is complete. You have moved from leaving the echoes to becoming the silence as we move toward the final transition of our journey. The distinction between the macro and the micro will vanish entirely. We are going to let the void and the self become one, guiding you into a state of total, unified rest. The journey that started with a vertical ascent into the sky is ending with a horizontal descent into the deep, dark sea of sleep. The silence of the universe is now the silence of your mind. The warmth of the first light is now the warmth of your own rest. You are prepared. You are light. You are ready to dissolve. The stars are waiting for you to join them in their long, slow gaze. The vacuum is waiting to support you in its frictionless embrace, and your own heart is waiting to lead you into the final, quietest room of all. Can you feel the edge of the infinite touching your mind one last time? Can you feel the space between your atoms expanding, turning you into a cloud of stardust and peace? You are the mirror in the void. You are the story and the silence. You are the beginning and the end. The journey is complete, and the distance between you and the stars has finally vanished. There is no longer a world out there and a self in here. There is only the presence of the quiet. There is only the texture of the dark. You have reached the heart of the void, and you have found that it is a place of absolute safety. The noise of the city is gone. The weight of the air is gone. The pressure of time has dissolved into the deep, still waters of the eons. You are floating in the ultimate sanctuary, a place where the universe itself goes to dream. Your breath has become the only clock that matters, and it is slowing down, moving with the rhythmic grace of a distant galaxy. Inhale the silence, exhale the world. Inhale the stardust, exhale the self. You are no longer a person trying to sleep. You are the sleep itself. You are the velvet dark that holds the light. You are the stillness that precedes the dawn. Everything is quiet. Everything is still. Everything is at rest. The vacuum is a soft pillow. The silence is a heavy blanket. You are sinking deeper into the frictionless sea. There is no resistance here. There is no effort. Your thoughts are like falling snow in a windless forest, drifting down through the dark until they settle and disappear. You are letting go of the need to know. You are letting go of the need to be. The void is holding you. The void is protecting you. It is a vast, dark womb where every worry is undone. The cooling effect of absolute zero has reached the very center of your mind. The agitation is gone. The heat is gone. There is only the cool, clear light of the internal stars. You are light. You are hollow. You are peace. Your heartbeat is a soft, rhythmic echo of the first light. It is a slow and steady pulse that says you are home. You are safe. You are here. You are now. The shadows are kind. The darkness is a gift. You are dissolving into the infinite fade. Slowly, the edges of your consciousness are blurring. You are becoming the dark space between the atoms. You are becoming the vast gaps between the stars. The you that has a name is fading. The you that has a history is drifting away. You are a part of the long, slow gaze of the cosmos. You are a participant in the eternal rest. There is no hurry. There is no end. There is only the continuation of this perfect, silent moment. The universe is breathing with you. The stars are blinking with you. The void is dreaming with you. You are the silence. You are the sleep. You are the dark. Each breath is a step further into the velvet. Each heartbeat is a reminder of the quiet. You are sinking. You are drifting. You are fading. The light of the world is 1,000,000 miles away. The noise of the world is a memory of a memory. You are in the quietest place. You are in the safest place. You are in the home of the stars. Think of the beauty of the unknown. Think of the peace that lies in the questions that have no answers. What lies beyond the furthest void? What exists in the heart of the stillness? It does not matter. The beauty is in the waiting. The beauty is in the rest. You are a part of the great, dark mystery, and the mystery is beautiful. You are a child of the silence, and the silence is kind. Let the rhythm of the cosmos carry you. Let the smoothness of space guide you. You are weightless. You are timeless. You are one with the nothingness that is everything. The long, slow fade is almost complete. The final note of the song is lingering in the air, soft and sweet. It is a note of total peace. It is a note of perfect rest. You are floating on the edge of the dream. The void is open. The dark is warm. The silence is yours. Is the dark a mirror? Or is the mirror the dark? Does the silence speak? Or do we speak the silence? Where does the star end and the stardust begin? These are the gentle questions of the quiet. They are the soft hooks of the relaxation loop. They have no answers because they need none. They are just thoughts to carry you into the deep. You are drifting now, beyond the reach of words. You are moving into the space where only the feeling remains, the feeling of being held, the feeling of being safe, the feeling of being home. The clock has stopped. The light has faded. The void is full. You are sleep. You are rest. You are peace. The universe is quiet now. The stars are still. The journey is over. The dream begins. You are safe. You are home. You are quiet. Sleep, sleep, sleep. As the final trace of the world vanishes, you might wonder if the universe is a dream. Who is the dreamer? Perhaps the dreamer is the silence itself. Perhaps the dreamer is the void, resting after the long work of creation. And perhaps, in this moment of perfect rest, you have finally met the dreamer. You have found the source of the hum and the origin of the light. It is not a place you can name, but a state you can feel. It is the state of absolute, unbothered being. You are the dreamer and the dream. You are the quiet and the listener. The loop is closed. The circle is perfect. There is nothing left to do but let the last breath carry you over the threshold. The void is waiting. The dark is ready. You are free. You are still. You are silent. Is the silence a place, or is the place a silence? Are you the observer, or are you the observed? In the quietest place, there is no difference. There is only the peace. There is only the rest. There is only the dark. Let the questions fade. Let the words dissolve. Let the self vanish into the stars. You are part of the infinite now. You are part of the eternal calm. The story is finished. The silence remains. The void is yours. You are home. You are safe. You are asleep. The long, slow fade is complete. The universe is holding its breath, and you are finally, perfectly at rest.